picture of me, but it's a picture nonetheless. I'll be teaching you all social media today, the real basics. And as far as social media goes, when it comes to InSight, we have many social media platforms, many of which you have hopefully seen on our website itself. In the top right corner of InsightUserGroup.org, we have all the icons listed, so please jot down a note to yourself to go on there, check it out, and connect with us on everything. However, the three we'll be discussing today, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, these are the ways you can find us on each one. Facebook.com/InsightUsers. LinkedIn is, so you just search the Insight User Group. It's probably the best way to explain it. And then on Twitter, the handle is Insight Users. So hopefully many of you have already connected with us on all of those. But if not, we're here to learn social media. If you just created a page, you're going to need to follow somebody. And I'll tell you what, I'll even follow you back. Why not? So feel free to connect with all of us on there, and we'll hopefully start interacting a lot more in the coming days, weeks, and months, and years. As a friendly reminder, we have a mobile app out right now. It's the year-round mobile app, and I mention this because on the mobile app, there is a section called Community News at the very bottom of the home screen of the app. And the app itself has all of our social media platforms, much like I just mentioned on the website, built into the app. So if you go to Community News, on the lower bottom half of it, there's a tab, and you can actually switch over, and it's really easy. You can literally go on the app, click Twitter, follow, click Facebook, follow, boom, 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 and you can go through all, and within a matter of 10 seconds, be completely connected to InSight. So going back to the last slide, just to give you guys a heads up, it's available on the App Store through Apple, as well as the Android App Store via Google Play. And the easiest way to find the app is to search on either one of those app stores, Insight User Group. Now, before we continue with all the social media, just a heads up to everyone. There's no way you don't know about this. We've sent a lot of emails about it. We're talking about it on every platform imaginable. It's our annual conference. It's coming up this fall. We're actually less than a couple months away, I believe. September 15th through the 18th in Nashville, Tennessee. We still have registration is still open. So if you want to take a chance to go online, insightUserGroup.org/annual conference, or if you just go to the events tab on the homepage of our website, click annual conference, you can get every bit of information you need. We recently launched the entire agenda search feature. We announced that about 3 weeks ago or so. You can go on there, click your particular profession, your specialty, and you can actually see all the sessions that are focused for you. So please go check all that out. Register. If you have any questions about the annual conference, by all means, email us at insight@insightUserGroup.org, and we will get back to you as quickly as possible with the information you need. Today, like I said, we're going to be covering three things: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, the real bare bones, basic information with everything. Yesterday, if you registered for today's webinar prior to about noon yesterday, you received an email from us, or at least hopefully you should have received an email from us, basically asking all of you, what do you want to learn today? It's our goal here at InSight to make sure that whatever we do, we do it for you guys. We do it for our members, and we get them the content that they want to hear and want to see and want to learn. And that is a big point of today. We had a lot of our members reached out to us and said, we would love a social media training, and that doesn't usually typically fall into the IT, healthcare, McKesson realm, but so many people wanted it. Here we are. So we asked a lot of people, what would you like? And overnight, many responses came in. So with that being said, today I want you all to ask questions. There's a chat box feature located at the very bottom of the toolbar you guys are using for this presentation. Ask away. If I'm doing something, ask questions. I will answer them as best as I can. Truthfully, priority is going to go to the people who submitted questions already, and I'll get many of those answered and out of the way. But as we go about the presentation itself, I will be sure to circle back towards the very end and answer your questions if I haven't already, because there's a chance I might answer your questions as I go about this. So without further ado, let's focus on Facebook. Now, like I said, a lot of questions came through, and based on our research that I populated from our survey yesterday, 70% of our current webinar attendees have a Facebook account, whereas 30% do not. And many of the questions came in wondering, how to share information. Many people just commenting basically that they are very casual users. One of my favorite ones, I don't have the names of people who submitted these, but one of my favorite responses was, I don't know much about Facebook, but I sometimes look at my husband's account. When I do see something interesting, such as a photo or video, I don't know how to email it to others. So again, I have no idea who sent that in, but hopefully you're listening, and I will now be able to answer that question for you. So Facebook allows you to do several things, and just to clarify why there's Captain America there, it's an inside joke with a coworker here, and so is Paula Dean. We have a coworker of ours named Rachel. It was an inside joke. But anyway, so this is the profile we're currently going to be using. Not many friends are logged into this one, but basically when you're going through Facebook and you see something you like, so for example, say we were going to McKesson Corporation, right? And McKesson posted this 18 hours ago. It's we're looking for a recent graduate interested in healthcare sales, career, job opportunities. So say you know somebody in the Washington, D.C. area and you wanted to email that to them or just share it to them. You have a few options. The first one is to click share. Easiest way to do it, you have three options immediately. You can share now friends, and what that means is it will go immediately to your wall. So anybody who you added as a friend, accepted as a friend on your Facebook page will be able to see it instantaneously. And it will say your name, share this on their wall, and then it will have a link to the fan page, i.e. in this case, McKesson Corporation, and everyone you know in your entire network of friends will be able to see that there's this job opportunity. Now, say you wanted to comment on here and add a little comment about it, like, hey, I think McKesson's a great corporation. You can click this, and then you can comment saying like, hey, great job posting, and then you can hit share photo. In this case, it says photo because it was a photo they shared. Otherwise, it would be like status or post. Facebook changes it based on the content, and you hit it, and it will go right to your wall. This has been shared in your timeline. So when you go back to your timeline, there it is. Great job posting, and it's right there. The other option to show you all is when you hit share, there is send as a message. Now, not the best example right now for you because I literally don't think I have any friends on this particular Facebook page. Hopefully, all of you in your personal lives have a lot more friends than zero. But in this case, you would just type in the name of the person who you want to send it to. Facebook would populate it and a list would come down about right here. And then instead of sending it to everybody in your network, you can send it directly to that one person. And right there, much like the other one, you can send it as a message saying, check this out. And then they would get literally exactly what this looks like. Check this out, ... button here. And then they would know to go ahead and click here. And the average savvy user, especially if they're looking for someone fresh out of college, they would probably know to click the bit.ly link. And in that case, oh, Joe Ross just liked Insight User Group. Thank you, Joe Ross. Much appreciated. So you would then send the message there, and it will go right to their inbox. As far as emailing it goes, probably the best way, honestly, would be to just send them the photo link to download the photo on your. In this case, it would be just to download the photo and send it off. But if you have someone on Facebook, that's the best way to share it. Moving on to other questions here. Let's see what we have here. What is Insight account name? We already covered that one. It was Insight User Group. If you go to, John Ross found it. So if anyone wants to ask John Ross, he can definitely tell you how to find us on here. Anyone have any questions right now? I'll just pause right now and take some more generic questions while I'm looking into seeing what else I was going to. Okay, right here. Someone else submitted, what information is shared? What data do you collect? What is the difference between Facebook accounts and professional links? As far as professional links go, I'm assuming you're referring to professional Facebook fan pages. If whoever submitted that, and I might be reading it wrong, feel free to comment here and ask a question or clarify. But there's a complete difference between there's Facebook profiles and then there's Facebook fan pages made more for business. So what I'm showing you right here, this is McKesson's. This is a fan page, what Facebook calls a fan page, or more of a business page. It's more catered to the business realm, and it doesn't have to be a company that's necessarily really strict on business either. It could be a company that is a little bit more in the live entertainment and fun, like your local sports teams. Still, those are fan pages, and those are business pages. And the difference with these is that on a personal page, such as Linda Pauladine over here, this thing that I created with Captain America, this right here, say John Ross right now was linked in with Linda Pauladine, and he went on my wall and was like, you know, great presentation. His comment would be able to be seen by everyone on my network of him talking to me on my wall. Whereas when you go to something like McKesson on a fan page, if you were to comment on here, your comments will not be shown on the wall. There's a little tiny section called Visitors Post. They haven't had anybody post in here recently, but Visitors Post, it will show down here. The whole premise of a business and a fan page on Facebook is to be consider it like a subscription. You're basically subscribing to a business or to an entity to receive their content continuously. So the concept being is that if someone is posting about your local baseball team, you only want to see the local baseball team's news and information straight from the baseball team, as opposed to seeing fans being like, hey, you guys really blew it last night against the Rockies. You know, they don't want to have you seeing that. They want instead, Facebook wants you to see the content you want. It's all created for the user's experience. So hopefully I answered that question. I got one question coming in here. Let's see what we got here. Someone's actually, Tony Evans is actually commenting about the app. They said, I downloaded the app to my phone, but it doesn't look like the screen print. It's just pale blue without the icons. You know, I've never heard of that happening, Tony. So if you want to send us an email at insight@insightUserGroup.org, we can definitely take care of that for you and rectify the situation. But moving on to social media and Facebook, a couple people asked how to use messages. I kind of touched on that already. Like I said, we'll be covering some really basic stuff here today. But if you look right here, there are 3 different buttons on Facebook. One is notifications. So like in this case, it tells me who joined our groups here. So there's Joe Ross, Beth Ann Mayer, 4 others liking us in the last 4 minutes. We appreciate all of you. And then there's this tab right here. This is the messenger button. Again, I don't have any friends in this profile, so it's very empty. Usually, if you had more of a network, you'd have more, it'd be a face with a bunch of words, and you can click each one. And all that is basically a message is a private conversation between 2 people. Consider it like an email inbox on Facebook. So that's the difference between those 2. That pretty much covers the questions that were asked so far about Facebook. You guys just really want some generic info. Besides the last final one being, what is a wall? There's 2 different walls. One is a public wall, and which is your actual profile here. Some people confuse wall with feed. So this right here is your wall. And this is where, again, every time you update your profile, your cover photo, all this stuff right here is what will be updated on your actual wall where people can see your friends talking to you. A feed that people might talk about, a news feed, is what everything you subscribe to would be kind of like a Rolodex right here. Just be nonstop information coming to you, constantly live updating once you subscribe to a bunch of different pages and your friends' feeds. That's where you'd see all like your sisters or cousins' posts of their kids or whatever the case may be. That's where it would go right here in the feed. And from there on the feed is where you can comment, like, and share. And that's how you handle all of those. Moving on to the next topic, which is, of course, Twitter. Now, surprisingly, 30% of the registrants today said they use Twitter and have a Twitter account. 70% do not. Twitter is a little bit of a different animal compared to Facebook. It's much more driven for information, and actually a lot of people commented and asked in the survey, what is the difference between Facebook and Twitter? How should I use the two differently? And that's a really good question. And really, it's up to personal preference. As you'll see here, Twitter is very limited in terms of content and how much you can share at once compared to Facebook. Facebook is limitless. You can just type and type and type and type, write paragraphs on paragraphs and share a photo. Whereas with Twitter, you're limited to 140 characters, including spaces, including commas, periods, and and the links themselves are, there's a whole different world of like Owly and Bitly that are all designed to shorten your links and help you really narrow it down. Now, there are some things I should mention, because a couple people were asking, please explain the difference in how Twitter works with private messaging and just delivering that kind of messaging to each other without people seeing in the public realm on Twitter. There's a feature called an @mention. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it here. There's a feature called an @mention. So in this case, so I'll use my own personal Twitter handle right here, VBillCoon right there. Okay, so that's me. So now say I was InSight, and I just followed InSight, and InSight wanted to thank me for following them. They would say, thanks for the follow, right? And they tweet it out. Now you'd think that after tweeting that entire thing out, if it would post, for some reason it's not posting, but there it is, it's a little delayed. You'd think that after tweeting that out, all of our 390 followers would see that, but you'd be wrong. Because actually right here is, it's very similar to the wall and to the feed. This is everyone's content coming in from all the 635 people that InSight happens to follow, all the industry professionals that we follow regarding IT healthcare and McKesson staff members. This is where their feeds come through. Whereas if you go to our actual profile here, you'll see in a second, notice how that tweet that just happened, obviously much sooner than 2 hours ago compared to what it's showing, is not on here. The reason being is that if you start a tweet out with a handle, which is a handle is anything that has the @ beginning with it, that handle creates a private chain. And the only way anybody would ever see that, like if you wanted to see it, like say you wanted to call out a company, like just say like, you know, hey InSight, great job at the regional event this year. You would do @InSight users, great job at the regional event this year. But if you put a period before it, then it becomes a public tweet because the first character that's being recognized is not the @. Instead, it's just any other character. So then it would become a public tweet. Now, with that being said, anything you tweet out that doesn't start with an @ is shared to every single one of your followers. So like right here, InSight's social media training webinar kicks off in less than 2 hours. You're all the lucky ones to be a part of it. That tweet was seen by all 635 people when they happened to go on their phones or log on to Twitter to read the tweets. Now, circling back to the original question that I kind of got off topic on, which was somebody wanted to know what's the best way to use Twitter and Facebook and what's the difference really. It really is personal preference. It's more so like a social media strategy that people kind of develop over time. A lot of people that I know who use social media I keep using baseball, for example, because it's on my head right now. I'm a big Chicago White Sox fan, for example. I follow the White Sox on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter because I want to make sure that if they make a trade, if they do anything, or they show like a highlight from last night's game, anything they put out there, I want to make sure I see it. So, but with that being said, there's a lot of people, like i.e. my cousins and my aunts, who have Facebook and Twitter, but I don't follow them on Twitter because I know that their lives, anything they're going to post on Twitter, they're also going to post on Facebook. So I keep Facebook more so for friends and family, whereas I use Twitter for more of a newsreel. So I follow like Adam Schefter on ESPN, for example, to get all the NFL insights. Follow, like I said, the White Sox. And I use it for I use it for things outside of sports too, but for some reason it's all coming to my head. But I use it for just news sources, really, just to make sure I'm on top of the line. It's basically my generation's newspaper. Twitter is the best way to explain it. And going back to that, Facebook, again, limitless content. It's much more graphically driven on Facebook, whereas Twitter is more so just consider it like headlines. Just boom, here's what you have to know. Here's a small link. Click it if you care. And that's really what Twitter is. Hopefully that answers that question. Then pretty much every other person who commented saying, how do I sign up for Twitter? How do I register for Twitter? Honestly, it's very, very simple. I'm not going to walk it through it. I'm not going to walk through it just because it would cause me to log out of everything here. But if you just log on to twitter.com, there's, boom, right there, front and center. It says sign up for Twitter. You just upload a picture. It's step by step. It guides you through it. It's very, very, very simple. And then all you got to do is search @InSight users, and you can click us and follow us, be the first people to follow us. Which, speaking of which, in this time period, I believe we received over 20-something followers on Twitter. So thank you all very much who clicked the follow button while doing this. I really appreciate it. So moving on from Twitter, and again, if anyone has any additional Twitter questions, please ask. I may have missed a couple things that you guys might want to hear, so by all means, ask away. The next final one is the social media platform called LinkedIn. Very, very important one. I surveyed everyone and as registrants here, and as far as our survey registrants goes, this was actually evenly split right down the middle. Of all the people attending this webinar, 50% of you claim you have a LinkedIn, and 50% of you say you do not have a LinkedIn account. So I don't know why this picture's screen just opened. Sorry about that. You'll see. I cannot get rid of that now. There you go. Cancel. Perfect. Okay, going back to this. So yeah, as far as LinkedIn goes, the questions that were coming through were, I know very little about LinkedIn, so really anything would help me today. Thank you for your honesty. Someone wanted to know, who can see my LinkedIn postings and profile? Will only people I approve be able to see it? Very, very good question. The answer is yes. The only people who will be able to see your postings are the people who you want to have see it if you set your privacy settings correctly. You go to your, I'm not going to walk it through it, but there's a very simple button that you just toggle in the privacy settings that allows you to select if you want to be an invisible profile or if you want to have it be a wide open public profile. And it's totally your choosing. And one of the cool features about LinkedIn compared to all other platforms is that LinkedIn actually tells you who looked at your profile. On Facebook, anybody who, if your profile is wide open, anybody can see your settings, which actually, now that I think about it, someone wanted me to walk through the privacy settings, which I'll go back to Facebook and explain that in a little bit. But as far as LinkedIn goes, it will tell you who is looking at your profile, because the whole premise of LinkedIn is not supposed to be sharing, pictures from your kid's wedding last night. The whole point of LinkedIn is to make yourself an authority in a field. So in your case, if you wrote an interesting article about something you do on a daily basis, you'd want to share it and post it on LinkedIn. Or it's a great place to go and find other content that other companies are putting out. And it's typically very more business oriented. Like the stuff you'll see on Facebook is a little more fun and exciting, whereas the stuff you'll see on LinkedIn is a little bit more cut and paste, just like check out this industry news. It's very high, very more industry-based and industry-written, I should say, and that's the way the content is typically delivered on LinkedIn. So basically, in summary, if you take a LinkedIn profile, what you want to do is don't share your family photos, don't share anything that's anything personal. It should just be all about your job, all about your career, accolades at your company, accolades in your life. If you win an award at work, show it all off on LinkedIn, nowhere else. As far as building a profile, someone wanted to know that. There's several things you can do on here, and LinkedIn has actually gotten a lot better about giving more customization and options available to people as they build out their profiles. The few things you want to do here is, number one, add a position. So say you're just starting from scratch. Pretty much I made this profile not too long ago, like a couple days ago in preparation for this. So I only have one connection, which is Jacqueline, which I'll explain in a little bit. But if you click here and you go to add a position, this is basically like a virtual resume. So you can pretty much just copy paste your entire resume into LinkedIn. And this is how you would do it. You put the company name in there, your title, the location, just like a resume would read, the dates and years that you worked at said job. And you can even go down to right here, the description. A headline is interesting. Headline relates to this section right here, and it tells people just in a quick little, like, if they're searching and your name pops up in a feed, if someone searched like IT healthcare or like the facility you work at, if your name popped up, it would tell you really quickly what it is. You can change your headline right there if it's your current job, and that's where it would populate up top. But then the description, this is where you would put all the bullets that you have under every job in your resume, saying I accomplished this, I achieved this, blah, 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 blah. It would all go right here in the description. You hit save, and you just keep building. And then from there, you're able to take this button and toggle it up and down and move it in the order in which you want it to be shown, usually chronological. But I can't do that right now because I don't have anything built into this to show you. But nonetheless, that's how you would do it. As far as all this other stuff goes, education, just like a resume, you want to put your degrees, your master's degree, your bachelor's degree, your associate's degree, whatever you have, any type of certifications you may have, do it all here, just like you do the jobs. And then right here, here's an interesting thing, the summary. Now, a summary goes above all of your job postings. Your entire resume section, the summary will pop up first. And the summary is really, really, really good for someone who is looking to find work. Hopefully you're all employed and happy with your jobs, but if you're currently looking for work, a summary is a great thing to have. And a really good way to consider using your summary would not be to just do a blah, blah, blah elevator pitch, which some people do. Instead, what they say to do is to summarize yourself in more of like what is it that you would like to achieve? Here's how I achieve it. So say you're looking for a job and you're like, oh, looking for someone who is great at ICD-10, and then question mark, and then right below it, you comment about how you, so some accolade you had working with ICD-10 or whatever the other software program is that you're using, and that's where you would explain yourself. It's a really good way to just like kind of show off your talents, show off your writing skills. That's the best way to do it right there. I'll pause for a second because another question is coming in. I'm not sure if it's related to LinkedIn, but we'll see here. What does the first, second, and third mean? Coming in from Wendy McCoy. Wendy, I cannot thank you enough. That was like the perfect transitional question because that's exactly what I was going to go to next. You're the best, Wendy. Going to the first, second, and third, that's the degree of connections. So, for example, like I said, I only have one connection here on this profile. It is the one and only Jacqueline Gaggiano. And Jacqueline told me ahead of time to tell you all that her profile is awful and to not use it as a great example of anything. But she just inspired me to tell you about the skills section, so I'll tell you that in a second. But going back to Wendy's question, first, second, and third, it's the degree in which you know somebody. So in this case, I'm linked into Jacqueline, meaning that Jacqueline, by accepting my invite, has said, I have spoken to this person, I have worked with this person, I know this person, and it's just, you literally have shaken hands and you know each other, you're officially in each other's network. If you see a secondary connection, that usually means, like for example, on this thing here, Mary Kate Fogarty, she would have been a secondary, if it was reading correctly, it would say she was a secondary connection. It probably will actually if I click her profile. Yeah, Mary Kate Fogarty as a secondary connection to Jacqueline Gaggiano. What that means is my profile, as far as LinkedIn knows, I do not know Mary Kate Fogarty, but Jacqueline knows Mary Kate Fogarty close enough where within one email, a text, a phone call, she can hook me up and connect me with Mary Kate Fogarty to talk to her about a job opportunity or anything going on in the industry. So that's what the secondary means. The third degree connection means that Jacqueline knows somebody, in this case Mary Kate, who knows somebody who you want to talk to. So it's usually a bit more of a stretch, and again, if there was a better example on here with this profile of mine, I'd be able to show you, but what it will usually show is if you click on a third degree person, it will say, it will show you the timeline. It will say, like, you know Jacqueline, who knows, and it will just say somebody. So then your job as a third degree connection is to reach out to Jacqueline and be like, hey Jacqueline, I found this guy named Tom Peters, and I would love to connect with him, but it looks like you know somebody who knows Tom Peters. Would you mind looking at his profile? And then you send her the link to the profile and tell me who you know who knows. So when Jacqueline goes on Tom Peters' profile, Tom Peters will only be a secondary connection to her because, again, she knows somebody who knows Tom Peters. In that case, Jacqueline can be like, oh, I know Mary Kate Fogarty, who knows Tom Peters. Yeah, let me reach out to Mary Kate and see if she'll connect me and blah, blah, blah. So then Jacqueline then becomes the total middleman for the next day or so until she connects you to Tom Peters. Hopefully that answers your question, Wendy, but that's basically what first, second, and third degree connections are. Now, a couple things I should point out. First is the skills section down here. So they introduced this about 1.5 years ago on LinkedIn. Some people love doing this. It's called an endorsement. So in this case right here, if I was looking through here and I was like, what do I think Jacqueline's good at? Like, I think Jacqueline's really good at event planning. So I endorse her right there. So now if anybody goes on her profile, they're going to see that 4 people in her network took the time to say she's really good at event planning. Whereas in this case, 8 people said she's really good at social media marketing. Now, what does that do for you? I don't know. It depends on how much credence people put into this endorsement feature. But if you ever got on LinkedIn and you're on LinkedIn for long enough and you build your network up long enough, you'll start noticing that there are some people who just, like, when they're bored, love to go around and click endorse, 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 endorse. I don't know why they do it. They say in LinkedIn the reason for the endorsement is to keep someone in the loop. So say you meet someone at a networking convention, like the InSight annual conference, and 7 months go by and you think to yourself, like, oh man, I wish I still had a reason to talk to this guy named Kyle who could maybe help me in my career. And 6 months down the road, you decide, like, oh, let me just remind him that I exist. You can go on his profile and click endorse. You could also send a message, but if you want to just do something really, just to remind him that you're a human being and you exist, you can click endorse, and that's how he'll remember you're there. That's really the only true benefit of it, because anybody who's ever been in the hiring position, I'm sure, has never gone to LinkedIn and was like, I don't know, I'm between these 2 candidates. Let's see who has the most endorsements for social media marketing. I don't think that's ever happened in the history of job hiring. But that's hypothetically what LinkedIn wanted it to be for, but that's not really what it's become. The other thing I want to show you before we switch out of LinkedIn is connections. Pretty self-explanatory. If all of you were to connect with me right now, I would have over 120 new connections. And basically what that means is your network is just growing. So I advise against adding people who have a lot of connections just for the sake of adding them for connections. However, the benefit to having more people in your network and to utilizing LinkedIn and the way they motivate you, I guess you could say, to use LinkedIn and connect with people, is the more connections you have, the more prone you are to pop up in this field right here. So if you really, really think it's important for you, like if you have your own side business, for example, is probably the best way to do it. If you had a side business and you wanted to search up here and you wanted to start coming up in people's searches, the more connections you have, the more likely you are to be a 3rd degree or 2nd degree connection to somebody. So say you have a possible client searching, and even if they live across the country and they search, like, I don't know, marketing specialist, and you happen to be a marketing specialist on the side, and you have it in your profile under your header here, right, in your headline, because you are a third-degree connection, you'll pop up. So that's why they say the more people like Jacqueline who are 500 plus are what are called super connectors. So that they say the more super connectors you have in your profile, the better, because it helps you in your search results. Moving on, still talking about LinkedIn, but just a little plug here. We have the Insight user group here, and one of the questions that came through was how do I utilize the Insight user group LinkedIn profile? And honestly, it's as simple as clicking member. Go to our insightUserGroup.org website, click the LinkedIn logo in the top right corner, and from there you can become a member. Truthfully, we post a lot of our blog content on here. But the real benefit to this is with groups on a weekly basis, and you can change your subscription status, but the default I believe is weekly. You can change it to bi-weekly, monthly. You'll get a nice like LinkedIn populated blog roll of all the content that's coming through there. And it's not necessarily just stuff that we're posting. Like we post our blogs on here. Like for example, Brian Langerman, our executive director, posted top 5 reasons to attend InSight 2015. So he posted our video on here. So if you had subscribed to this whenever he had posted that, you would have seen Brian's come through an email along with several other users who utilize it to post, interesting news about their facilities, or if they find an interesting news roll coming up, it will all populate in an email. That's just a big summary. So that's how you utilize our LinkedIn group. Again, if you're going to become a member here, make sure you also become a member on Facebook and Insight, because Facebook and Twitter, because on Facebook and Twitter is where we really share the webinar information and more of that stuff, whereas blogs is, or on here it's more blogs related for our LinkedIn crowd. We have a question coming in here. Give me 1 second to read this. I am in Hawaii and I couldn't join at the start time due to time difference. I've missed half the webinar and I want to know if I can get recording. Jan Wheeler of Hawaii, today is your lucky day because we started something here very recently, and hopefully you all got the email that came out, I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago. We are starting a brand new thing here on our mobile app. So make sure you go and download the mobile app, Insight User Group, search it on iPhone or on Android. And in the education tab on the home screen, it will lead you to another section called Webinar Replays. And Webinar Replays, we're doing something called Mobile App Exclusives. So all of the most popular webinars, so like this one right here, for example, will qualify because we are well over 150 people in attendance today for this one. It's a fairly popular webinar. We will be posting it tomorrow afternoon. I will personally post this for you, Jan Wheeler, and I'll get it on the mobile app. And what it is on the mobile app, these particular webinars will be loaded on a hidden video page within the app, and you can click it, and it will just open it up, and it will be much like watching like the TED app, for example, if you ever use that. And the webinars will pop up, and you'll get all the information today, and you can watch the entire thing. Like literally, these exact words I'm saying right now, you can probably watch in your mobile app, or not probably, you will be able to watch in your mobile app in the coming days, and from here on out. So definitely, by all means, download the mobile app. It's getting cooler and cooler by the month. We're constantly renovating it, constantly making it a really great product for everyone. Let's see here. The last thing I want to cover, I'm going to go back to Facebook because I realized I didn't answer a question that a couple people had, which was in relation to the privacy settings. Now, let me just shift my screen over here because it's kind of blocked by the GoToWebinar feature. If you go here and you go down to settings, this is how you make sure the whole world can't see your Facebook. And you go to privacy, which is right here. And you can get several settings right here. Who can see your future posts and friends, and you can click it, and you can change it to public, friends, more options. And now the cool part is public is literally just wide open. The default for Facebook recently had to change this because they were getting in trouble because a lot of like 14-year-old kids were using Facebook, and all their life they didn't know that their setting was public, and anybody on the internet was able to see like little children. So they had to change it to default setting being friends. So So you can even set it to only me. Why you would have a Facebook and post pictures for only you, I have no idea. But if that's how you want to do it, cool. But friends is the best way to have it set. So then the people that you've accepted as your friends are the only people who can see it. Now, something to keep in mind is you can also do a custom. Say you happen to be obligatory, you're forced to be connected to your mother-in-law, for example, and you don't want your mother-in-law to see all your posts, and you only want her to see really select ones. You can set custom so that she's only going to see posts that you select and choose to have her see. And you can actually go to custom, type in her name as a blocked user, and then she will not see anything you post, except the few things that she has seen already up to the point of you friending her. Another example of how to do this, the best way to do it item by item, would be when you're writing a status. So here, sorry, this is going to be a really weird status. No one ever posts something like that. But you can go to Friends, and again, you can go to More Options, Custom. And instead of setting your profile to be custom completely, you instead can just do this one post customized, and you can be like, oh, mother-in-law, and boom, that person can't see you anymore. So, but I will caution you, that will become a permanent setting once you do it on here. And then in the future, if you want to start making it not seem so awkward that she can no longer see all your posts, you have to just type of status and then go back to Friends, and then she'll be able to once again see all of your comments and statuses, but just not that particular one. Going back to the settings page, webinar is telling me I have to pause a second because, okay, there we go. Go to webinar was just telling me that not everyone can see it, and only 70% of you, because I was moving too fast. So I'll pause for a quick second here to let that catch up. Sorry. Okay. I should clarify these little moments of weird pauses. I'll try to dub those out of the final version for the app, so no one has to waste their time on their phone staring at a screen of me waiting for people to catch up. There's settings right here. You could just set, really basic things, your Fahrenheit settings, all that kind of stuff for your general. But as far as privacy goes, who can contact me, again, it's all pretty self-explanatory, but this is where you would go to find all this information. And then, of course, there's other settings here, like security, for example, where you can do real security stuff about, again, it's all pretty basic, but just different passwords, and you can set all your security stuff here about, if you log in on a different computer, do you want it to warn you if someone else logs into your profile? All that kind of stuff is found here in the security settings. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that summarizes all three of our topics today. And I will happily now pause for, I don't know, a minute or two and let everyone start using the chat section, typing in a bunch of questions you guys may have, and I will get back to you in a moment to answer your questions, okay? So chat away, ask away, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, in that little window of time, 2 questions came through here. The first is, how do you add a pic to Facebook? Okay, so I will try to show you all that right now. Very, very easy to do. Give me 1 second. I'll get to the other questions in a second. Keep asking away if you have a question while I show this right now. Sorry, I ditched my mouse and I'm using the pad here, and it's kind of a bit of a struggle right now. Learning curve for me on the mouse pad. Okay, so posting a photo is just as easy as posting a status. So in this case, you have 3 options: status, photo, life event. Life event is just basically like, oh, hey, I got married, or change of a relationship, you know, whatever it is. That's where you would go on here if you want to share that kind of stuff with people. Photos and videos, though, you can do this, and you can have 2 options: upload a photo, video, or create a photo album. Photo album, obviously, if you have more than 1 photo, qualifies as an album technically. And then when you go in there, it give you a whole different kind of page. I won't show it because I don't really have anything to post. But you would just type in like, oh, Sunday at the park. And then you post like the 7 photos that you took on your phone that you happen to just, you know, get on your computer. And from there, you can just upload all your photos, and it will batch it all into one album that everyone can see. And when your friends see it, it will just simply read Sunday at the park, so-and-so uploaded, added 7 photos 2 hours ago, 10 minutes ago, just now, whatever it was. And then they can go on there and scroll through all your photos. To upload an individual single photo, you click this, and then you click, keep using the White Sox, why not? Let's just keep it going. So right here, and then your photo would be uploaded once it comes full color right there. You would have the photo, and then you can comment if you want to. I just say like, you know, White Sox. By the way, if anyone's tuning in who's an Angels fan, sorry we're destroying you this week. And post right here, and then boom, photos posted. And then any of my friends who I don't have on Facebook would have to go on here and you know, click it, and then they'd be able to see White Sox logo, and that's how it would work. The next question that came in, where is? I'm sorry, give me 1 second to find it. You know what? It just disappeared actually. So if anybody wants to re-ask the question really quickly, I can go on here and answer it really quickly. I'll pause for 10 seconds while you type it back in. Okay, 2 questions came in. One from Kim saying, if it is a business Facebook, is the filtering where you could see all posts before they are posted? Is there a filtering where you could see all posts before they are posted? I believe what you're asking is can you, if it's a Facebook like page for a business, can you censor what people are posting on your wall? Technically, you can delete the comments they make, but you cannot stop anyone from saying what they want about your company. The whole premise of Facebook is knowledge sharing. So if you know, you treat your customers poorly and they want to comment saying like you're terrible customer service, that's their free will. So you can go in and delete it and comment and talk to them about it. I highly recommend you don't delete their post. Instead, you just comment and try to take care of it and be very polite and try to solve their problem. But otherwise, yeah, you can't censor them. Can you unpost something to any of these platforms? That was asked by Miriam Cody. And yes, and you clarified, I meant post, not poast. Yes, I know. So you can unpost something to these platforms. It's very, very easy. Any of them can be unposted. I'll show you that in 1 second. I'm worried I'm going to lose this box if I close out of it, so I'll read the last question here, which is how you can write a draft of a post and save it as the company business page. Yeah, you can. I'm not really demoing fan pages today, but yeah, as a company business page, you have the ability to write a post, and then you can schedule it in the bottom right corner for later, and then you can, make sure it's exactly the voice you want it to have. You can show it to your coworkers, colleagues, whatever, and they can verify that that's exactly what you want to put out there. And you can schedule it to, say you're going on vacation, you want to make sure your Facebook stays active. You can schedule an entire year's worth of posts or a week's worth of posts if you want, and it will all go out as though you're there working on the job. But again, I'm not demoing fan pages right now or business pages, it's just personal stuff. So going back to Miriam Cody's question, can you unpost something on any of these platforms? Yes, you can. So say I post this up and I angered people in Los Angeles by posting this. I would be able to do this, and you can edit your post. You can go in there right now and be like, you can clarify what you're saying. Type. Done editing. You can delete completely, and you do that. On Twitter, it's very simple as well. There's a little ellipses on Twitter, dots. You click it and you click delete. LinkedIn, same thing. Just click the trash can, but I believe it's a trash can on there, and you just click the trash can and you delete it. So yeah, you can do that for all platforms. Everything you post is technically not permanent. You just got to hope that by the time you realize you want it off, not the wrong people didn't see it. So just be smart. Think before you post. I will pause for another few seconds here while I take any more questions that might be coming in. So ask away. Okay, nothing else is coming through. I think that's it. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming today and attending the InSight's social media training, the first ever of its kind. And hopefully you guys will all attend future ones. Just a heads up, I'm going to put out an email to everyone today or tomorrow. And I want to see what you guys want to hear about. So we're open to all suggestions. We can't promise we're going to be doing all of the suggestions that come through for webinars, but if you guys want to fill out a form, I'll send it to you all, and you can say like, oh, I think this would be a cool idea for a webinar. This would be a cool idea for a webinar. We might be able to make it happen, even if it's something really obscure that requires a really different kind of professional. We have a pretty big network here of great professionals. And even if you have an idea for a topic you want that has to actually do with your job and McKesson and InSight, please ask away. We have a very, very large network of people that can come and teach anybody whatever they need. So keep an eye out for an email. It will be coming with a survey link, and I appreciate you all attending. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Thank you all. Bye-bye.